All right, hello. Welcome to Newbeck and Dugan's TBD podcast. We are on week number 2. Dugan, how was your weekend?
It was good. Really good weekend of games. You don't see a first weekend like that in a while.
No, I'd agree. You couldn't. I think for college football, you couldn't ask for anything better than that. You had a lot of upsets and just a lot of really good games. Even last night, man, that was
really good, unreal good games.
Yeah,
and it wasn't. You had the noon kick with Houston, which was unbelievable atmosphere.
Yeah,
wild game. And then you carried that over to the LSU Wisconsin game, which was unbelievable, especially with that flying clothesline from the top rope.
God, that guy I thought he died.
Did you see that live?
I did. I thought the game was still going.
We were having a family party, and everyone just stopped what they were doing and just saw this grown man clothesline that guy.
That's what sports is all about.
That's exactly. That's one of my favorite moments. My other big family party moment in the summer, I think Max Scherzer had a perfect game and then hit the last batter, and I almost died laughing. 26 up, and he hits the 27th batter when he leans in with a curveball. It was awesome. All-time moment. So that was a good one.
I can't speak too much Nats baseball to you because FP just ruins every game. But that sounds like a Scherzer thing to do.
Oh, God, it was awesome.
Just perfect through 6 innings and then just blow up. But like I said, I don't follow Nats baseball as much as I would like to. But before we jump into the games, appreciate the fan base and the 26 listeners. Is it?
I can make it 27 if you give me 2 minutes.
Okay, yeah, we had 26 listeners in 4 days, which was nice. We had a lot of requests for guest appearances on the show, which we will get to hopefully within the next 2 or 3 episodes. Once we figure out a better way to kind of produce this thing, but we got Ryan Hughes and David Dutton actually called me and said he wanted to be on this. So
that's going to be can't miss podcast right there.
No, I'm totally lying. Dutton called and said this was totally stupid, which we did predict.
Even if we were up for an Emmy, he would say it's the worst thing in the world.
No, I agree.
At least he's consistent.
But yes, thank you to fans for actually clicking on this. Even if you didn't listen, you just wanted to make sure this was real. So I'll kick it to you, Dugan, and let's start with the first game that kind of interests you.
Yeah, so immediately I have to start with this first game, that noon kick Houston game versus Oklahoma. That was unbelievable game. It's been weird how I feel like every game this first week was not only a very good game, but the atmosphere that each home team had was unfathomable. With Houston at the NRG Stadium, which was rocking, then you go up to Lambeau, which I think is just such a cool place for a college football game, and that place was rocking as well. Then you had the USC Alabama game had some good atmosphere. You carry this over to Notre Dame, Texas. That place was absolutely rocking.
That was a madhouse.
That was unbelievable. And then last night you had the Florida State fans, and I was talking to someone going to the game, and I can't think of a cooler thing than when Florida State completes a 3rd and 13 or a long yardage play, and then not only did your defense give that up, but they hit you with the war chant over top of it.
The war chant, especially starting late in the second and third quarter. Man, they got on the horn a lot.
It really makes me. I always forget that. One of my favorite things about college football is definitely when the bands come into play and the bands are playing between each down. and it makes it that much better.
I'm not that big into music, but I'll go with that. All right.
With the War Chant alone, it's unbelievable. So no, let's go back to this Houston team. I mean, that's kind of you think last year that's the American Conference kind of skid through, pull a couple upsets, but they're for real. They're definitely for real the way that they play, and with Greg Ward, who is an absolutely outstanding quarterback.
I thought he managed the game pretty well. I thought, Baker Mayfield definitely had a better game, and at times was forced to kind of sling it around, which was nice to see. But I would compare, not to give Houston that much credit, and we'll disagree on this. I know we were talking over the weekend, but man, Oklahoma just did not look motivated. They kind of looked like Tennessee on Thursday. They just kind of like, oh man, this is going on. All right, Houston team just went in there and punched them in the mouth, and I think played a better overall football game. A lot of good play calling on Houston's part. A lot of misdirection with the way they ran the ball and were pulling offensive linemen, and a lot of misdirection, which obviously gave Oklahoma a lot of tiffs. But overall, I thought Oklahoma had more talent. It just did not show up to play.
And I mean, you have to think that's their bid for the Big 12 is look at that game.
Oh no, I agree. And who knows? That might be just closing the door. I wrote off Baylor last week, and Baylor blew them out. But going back to who's going to come out with the Big 12, maybe they just get left out. I don't know.
No, I mean and it's crazy to think that the next probably toughest game that Houston will have is home to Louisville, second to last week.
Yeah.
So they're not only going to be. I mean, it's like that 2012. Well, that Notre Dame team that had a couple easy games and was able to run the table. This team can certainly run the table.
Oh, I agree.
They play at Navy, which can be a little scary, just depending on how they can handle that triple option. But this team looks. They can make some noise, and they can certainly ruin some brackets, which I love.
I hope so too. I enjoy chaos to a certain extent. Obviously, I don't want Appalachian State and Houston and and like I mentioned before, Tennessee just did not look interested the whole game.
Jesus Mary, they were doing like that was just unbelievable that they were so much smaller on the defensive line and were just abusing.
It was I was watching and somebody said the average was like 60-pound difference between linemen. I mean, that's almost like that's a difference between high school. They were just not. I don't know. They had their eyes on playing in the racetrack next week. They're reading all their clippings, but that team was not prepared one bit. No, I'd agree with you. But all right, so what's next on your watch list?
Next on my watch list, we definitely then skated to. Well, Saturday was a good day. Like I said, we had some guests over. Then I went out later, so we had that LSU Wisconsin game. Really good game. That's a Big 12 game or Big 10 game. Pardon. That's a run the ball, punt. Late turnover, somehow score.
Yeah.
And then win 16-14. Unbelievable. And this goes back to our first podcast what is this? The 20th year or not 20th year, the 10th year Les Miles just cannot have a quarterback that can't do anything.
Oh, no, I agree. And like you said, like going back. Going back to last week, this kid can't suck for 3 years straight.
And by the way, how is he still there? I feel like he's been there for 8 years.
He's just trying to get that education, man.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. Like, you have a great baseball team. They can just find someone there that can throw and put them in there. I like their
something tells me it's a different throwing motion and mentality, but no, I would agree. I don't know how they keep whipping on quarterbacks down in Baton Rouge. It baffles me that they can't even get forgive me for referencing Bama, but like maybe an AJ McCarron, like just to manage the football game. Just don't turn the ball over and give it to an awesome running back with Leonard Fournette, who I've seen it before in college football, but I looked at the stat line the next day on Sunday, and Fournette had 138 yards on 23 carries. I don't remember him, as I was watching the game, being that effective to how the how the game turned out.
I agree. I think he had maybe one run in the garbage time where he had
that's true.
40 yards there. But I read today that Manziel is enrolling back in A&M. He has a year of eligibility left, right? Can he just go to LSU?
No, he. Okay, all right.
that would be ideal. Is Johnny Manziel goes to LSU and
parties down there.
He gets a party and he can just play football.
So to him that might actually be the dream, just to come back and.
Now we're thinking.
All right. What's next on your?
Next we had that Georgia UNC game, which was kind of a snoozer to start, and it kind of got interesting at the end of it. We both had Georgia and the points, so that game wasn't too important for us to watch. And then we had what I thought was going to be a sweet game, that USC Bama. That was, a team came out with that much passion, and they lay in it. The second half, they didn't do anything.
Oh, no,
Actually,
I think...
outside that first drive where they hit a fluky field goal, they didn't do much.
No, I would agree. Going back to last week's podcast, I said, Alabama is going to be great on defense, but who's playing quarterback, who's running the football, and how are they going to score points were my big questions. And in the first quarter and a little bit into the second, those questions were quite evident. They couldn't figure anything out. But like you said, came out, they scored 17 in the second, so you can't really say anything. No. But and then came out and just ran them over. They had... they had a rusher. They used 4 running backs, I think. Harris had 138 yards, which on 9 carries, which is kind of incredible.
That Jalen Hurts kid could fly.
And he only had 138 yards for 6 of 11, which
he played like a half.
Yeah, I know.
It was a spring game.
Yeah, and he just came out of nowhere. I honestly thought it was Cooper Bateman's job to lose, and I guess he lost it. But yeah, obviously it was a blowout for Alabama. Possibly the only team in the SEC, left to kind of be formidable about. Even though I think Ole Miss played a pretty decent game and can be dangerous against Alabama in 2 weeks. But right now, Alabama looking to be the favorite out of the SEC, and until I see something from somebody else, I don't think that's going to change.
That was a good transition to go in the last night's game. That was if you jumped to like a movie or something when it went to commercial, and you got caught in the movie and went back 15 minutes later. Those are 2 completely different games. I haven't seen a game flipped like that quickly in a while.
The last game I saw was like a Florida State game in Jameis's last year. I guess it was 2 years ago. Now, where 5 of those games in Jameis's junior year, they're down at half and they're just going to come back. And I remember back to that Louisville on that Thursday night where they were down like 17 and a half and then came roaring back to win. So
that was that was just one of those times where I'll say this a couple times. I love the double up. I'm a big fan of scoring at half and then getting the ball and scoring again.
That was huge. That
is one of the biggest swings in sports right there is the doubling up. Oh boy, that's how you do it. And I like that Francis kid. He looks good. Dalvin Cook looks very good when catching the ball. He ran it well last night, but if they just want to use him as that check down, that's easy money right there.
So Francois, a true freshman, am I correct?
He's a red shirt.
Okay.
He's a red shirt freshman.
So, how many pass attempts do you think he had last night?
Oh boy, I couldn't even.
52.
I knew it was. You texted me that it was like 30 odds, some I think, around half. I mean, they were just stuffing the run. That's what you got to do.
And then Dalvin Cook only had 91 yards on 23 attempts. He looked good though. You go back to Fournette and having more yardage, but I thought Dalvin Cook looked more in true season form than Fournette last night.
Dalvin looked good. That line had some trouble to start, man.
I think they almost gave up 100 yards in the first quarter off penalties.
That center had like 3 false starts in a row. Something crazy like that.
Yeah.
It was just wild.
No.
Wow. That was a cool game. I mean, they came out flying. That's all. That's an SEC defense that you haven't earned their respect yet, and they're just going to stack the box.
No, and it was crazy. I thought the field and the problems on defense were in the first half at FSU. FSU couldn't find anybody on the field, and we're leaving guys wide open. I mean, you were seeing Ole Miss just move the ball downfield with guys that were wide open. Even on touchdown passes, where he's thrown into coverage and he catches for a touchdown, he had 2 guys wide open in the end zone, and to come out in the second half, Ole Miss couldn't find anybody to stop that Francois kid from just running all over the place and throwing all over the place. It was I've never seen really a game like that. I was sitting there last night, kind of a little hungover on football.
Yeah.
But it was a good game to finish the week with.
Here's a little bit of trivia if you know it. Do you know what professional team plays that stadium they were in last night?
The Orlando Crew.
Oh no! I assume you mean soccer. So
yeah.
I guess it's Orlando City FC.
Oh, okay.
So I'll give you that. I'll give you Orlando Crew. That's like the Golden Crew. I don't know.
We're looking at the judges, and I'm getting a nod.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would have accepted that or Real Orlando. Any or, and I assume that's the same thing.
I was actually at a bar one night, and in the middle, maybe at May, and it was a Friday night, and I walk in, and there's a soccer game on. I was like, oh, all right, well, what's going on? And fans are going nuts, throwing confetti on the field. I'm like, all right, this is in Spain or, somewhere in South America. Nope, Orlando. People just going nuts.
It's right in Orlando. I mean, they have like 2 professional football stadiums there, right? 3. And they have it in a soccer stadium, which I find funny. They should have had that at the Jaguars, and people like swimming in that big pool they have upstairs. I'd like to do that. Maybe we take the podcast there one week. Maybe we go in the stadium and we do it from the pool.
Just do it from the jacuzzi?
We do it from the jacuzzi at the Jags game while we're jagging off.
All right, now you took it too far.
Yeah, okay. So that's a past week rewind.
Whoa.
Oh,
You're not getting off the hook. Not getting off the hook that easy.
Oh, I must have missed it. That's my bad.
Oh.
That was a fun game to watch.
That was a hell of a shootout.
That was a fun game.
That was a shootout. And even in overtime, man, Texas comes down the field, scores, and off maybe 3 or 4 plays, and then Notre Dame gets the ball and just goes down and scores on one play. So
yeah, that was cool. We were watching that at a buddy's house, and we actually started the first game at the bar, and then went to the house to watch it. We couldn't hear all the audio because I didn't realize how loud the stadium was because we were watching at the bar. So you sit there and you just assume, oh, it's nothing. And we get to his house, and you would have thought the TV was on max volume. It was so loud. They played a hell of a game, but I mean, I don't want to be salty, but I think Notre Dame is obviously still the better team. I think that was not a once in a lifetime or once in a season, but I definitely think Texas maybe outplayed themselves than who they are.
God, playing for that crowd in that stadium, man, you couldn't. And apparently Matthew McConaughey was just giving pre-game speeches. You can't win against that. You can't. I mean,
do you think he showed up in like a Buick?
A Lincoln.
Lincoln. That's why.
Yeah. No, but I think you're right.
Have you seen the?
And he didn't say anything for the first 30 seconds. He just walked into the room and looked at everybody intensely for 30 seconds before he started speaking.
Quick sidebar. I know you're not an It's Always Sunny fan, but did you see the one where they tried out for the Eagles?
No, I did not.
Oh, it's like this fake Donovan McNabb shows up in like a torcel. It's really funny. That's what I imagine Matthew McConaughey doing.
All right, well,
city car.
I hate to end the segment, but as we did have a lot of great games this weekend. But moving on to what we got next, and
our new segment. We're trying out this week. Give us some feedback. It's called Stop Drinking the Kool-Aid or Start Drinking the Kool-Aid. And I will start, Brad. You know who I'm going to start drinking the Kool-Aid of?
Oh God, no.
We already mentioned on this podcast the Houston Cougars.
Oh man,
I am drinking that Kool-Aid right now.
I'll have to. I'm gonna grab a glass of that Kool-Aid as well with you, man. It's
some good Kool-Aid.
It's gosh. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and that schedule helps them too.
Yeah,
that's
no kidding.
Kool-Aid. Do you have any one you want to start with, or should I go start and stop, and then you say yours, or what?
I'm gonna go with mine. You go ahead. I'm rethinking.
You go ahead. Okay. I'm gonna stop drinking the Kool-Aid, even though I was never drinking of it. I think next week Texas is going to get smoked.
Okay, now you're just bitter.
No, I'm not. See, I'll never play yet. But I don't like Texas' chances next week, so I'm going to stop drinking that Kool-Aid.
All right.
They play UTEP, who they'll probably win, and then they'll get smoked by Cal at Cal.
So I was very hesitant in my first pick to stop or start drinking.
I guess we should only be starting drinking the Kool-Aid, or should we just do both? Because I haven't started drinking Texas Kool-Aid, but I'm just going to stop drinking it.
If it was offered to me, I would say no.
No, yeah, so I'm not going to drink Texas Kool-Aid. There you go. That sounds better.
Well, then I'll jump in, and I'm putting down the drink when it comes to Tennessee. Yeah.
I see it differently.
Nah.
I would put my mortgage on next game against that Virginia Tech. I'd put my mortgage on it.
We'll get to that. We can make things interesting, but I think Virginia Tech punches them in the mouth too.
Ooh.
Those people in Blacksburg love NASCAR, and they love some Hokies.
They do, and I know I was talking to Ro, and Rosie has a bunch of friends that are actually going to the game, which would be a pretty cool experience.
It would be a pretty cool experience. I feel like getting the tailgate, being in that atmosphere, I think it's going to be really cool, just place to be. Until you're trying to watch the football game from like the corner spot of the racetrack, off turn one.
Turn one, yeah.
And you just can't see dick. So
this is like your Winter Classic, where you had standing room only.
I had standing room only tickets, cheapest tickets in the house. Man, I had the best seats. I had a guy front row on the third base line being like, I can't see anything.
But to piggyback off that, you're definitely gonna. I feel like if you do the proper research, you can probably find an adequate seat, but it's going to be a ridiculous time to watch that, because I was looking up the configuration and I have any seats on the track. It's just going to be like a high school, how it has like a track around the field.
Yeah.
And then So I was going to save this, but I'm going to say it now. You know, this is a huge miss by the NCAA. There needs to be a NASCAR race before, going on during it. That's like the biggest miss of all time.
If somebody spins out, the cheerleaders might die.
And I was thinking about it. You know who would win this race? If someone like Danica would win this race, and it would just get dismissed because all the men were watching football, and then it would be unbelievable feminism in sports, and it would be over.
She's never won a race.
How crazy is that? I was thinking about that the other day because she was at the Ole Miss game, and I was like, I had to Google if she actually won anything, and she still has. What's her shelf life? Does she still even race? How is she even in the NASCAR? Is it like she has to qualify? I don't even know anymore. We need a NASCAR guy. That's what we need.
Yeah, John Lynn would be perfect.
I wish we could call him right now.
Yeah, well, again, that's
we can do that.
Production.
We can work on that.
Yeah, maybe like a 3-way.
Yeah.
I'll go with my second pick here just to catch up with you, and pretty obvious one. I'm going to be putting down the cup of LSU. I'm not a believer, and I said it before last week with Tennessee and LSU, so I don't know if I'm being trendy or not, but I wanted to see it first before I started believing in that, and
you didn't see much.
I did not see much. A hell of a clothesline, though. I mean, I'm pretty sure we saw somebody claim someone else's soul, which
that was bad. That's gonna go down there. Like that's gonna go down as one of those nasty hits that it's just unbelievable. No, that's our segment.
All right.
Start drink the Kool-Aid. I think it's got some potential. We can definitely work on some things there.
No, but and to go on the segment, you really don't know a team until week 3 at least. So
I mean, I'm going to be picking up and drinking probably the same Kool-Aid I put down 2 weeks ago. So
you're putting down that Texas Kool-Aid. You don't want any of that.
Kool-Aid spoiled. That's turned.
Excuse me, sir. Can I have an open bottle? I think somebody put something in this. All right, so.
Hey, Brad, because I want to get your reaction.
Oh, God.
Where are you? What's your team name for fantasy football?
Oh, great question. Glad you asked. So back in the college days, a good friend of ours in the fraternity who will not be named.
That's who you are. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
And he had some relations with her. You
can say her name. We'll bleep it out.
But so yeah, in the spirit of him getting married, I just love to remind Charlie that he hooked
Fair
up.
Enough. You have the 9th pick.
No, I do.
Yeah, I have the 2nd.
You want to trade me?
You can't trade. I don't think.
I know.
It's corny. Corey and I looked it up. You can only trade an hour. Like you have up until an hour before, so it didn't work. If you get what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right, so let's go to our 4th segment here. Moving along quite nicely. We got who's in your playoff right now?
Playoff right now, Alabama.
Okay.
Is my 1.
Coming out of the SEC.
Yeah, that's just a performance you can't deny. Florida State, number 2.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, you really have to, the way that they can pull it together. I mean, I like Jimbo Fisher a lot. I think he comes off real brash, but I really like the way he coaches. Number 3, probably, even though they have a little underwhelming, Clemson. I think Clemson can do a lot more. I mean, that much more is really, really good. That because next year, next year, is going to help with Deshaun Watson a lot. And I still like that defense. The defense has a lot of very good pieces in it.
So we got 2 out of the ACC.
Yeah. So we have 2 out of the ACC. Then, I mean, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, Brad. I'm putting out the Houston Cougars.
Oh, man.
I had to.
You had to. All right, yeah. That's a respectable.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
That's a respectable playoff pitcher there.
How about yours?
Very interesting. You are talking about leaving 3 conferences out, though. 3 of the Big 5.
3 of the Big 5. Yeah, I don't... That's a good point. I think that my issue with the Pac-12 is, like, everyone... Stanford's a little bit better, I know, than Cal or UCLA, but I feel like it's very cannibalistic in that conference. And I've got Ohio State, too. But that's... Hey, the way too early playoff. I don't have to justify.
Well, it's not way too early. It's just now too early because we've been able to too early playoff picture. I'm going to go with obviously Alabama. Defensively, just looked sound again, and I only think they're going to get better on that front, even with a new coordinator. And on offense, they'll figure it out. I think they're only going to get better as well. As even more, Calvin Ridley didn't even catch the ball or have that great of an impact on the game. Don't take my word on not catching the ball. I don't know, actually. So we're going to Alabama out of the SEC. I'm going to go with Ohio State. I think they edge out Michigan at the end of the year. And
that's going to be fun. That's going to be a good game.
I think so, too. They both had, obviously outstanding win, winning by a very large margin against not so great teams, and sort of went under the radar as they should. They didn't play anybody this weekend, but I got Ohio State coming out of the Big Ten. I'm snubbing the Big 12. I just was not impressed by anybody. I still think Texas is a long way away. Oklahoma, thanks, Bob.
That's big game Bob right there.
Yeah, and then, Baylor, you play an offense that can actually score the ball, and I'll have a better idea about you. But
and I mean, if they can get committee points for beating up chicks, then that's
man,
then they're in for me.
Zing.
There it is. Yeah.
And then I've got Clemson coming out of the ACC. Not a very, sexy pick. But I think they get their stuff together. Not very impressive against Auburn, who seemed like we're trying out everybody at quarterback Saturday night. But, Clemson shuts them out and wins the football game at Auburn. And I think they beat out Florida State. I think Florida State's going to keep doing the same thing, just not show up for quarters at a time. And a team like Clemson with a defense that will only get better, and an offense again that will only get better as the year goes on. I think it's going to be a hell of a game when they play, but I think Clemson wins. So, and then I'm going to have to go with Stanford out of the Pac-12, again, shaky start. Very consistent, but again, I think they'll only get better. Watching Christian McCaffrey play, man, that guy, he just bounces off of tackles, just knows where to run the football, just a lot of fun to watch. The crazy thing is, I'm watching the game, and I'm like, man, he's not that tall.
No.
He stands up against his lineman. He's not that tall, but, man, he is lightning in a bottle, and I wouldn't want to punt to him. So
it'd be interesting. I want to see what his NFL evaluation is going to be. He's going to be
I think I agree. That'll be interesting how he transitions into the professional career. So those are my hot takes.
Before we get into next week's game, just a little housekeeping from last week. Keenan Reynolds was waived by the Ravens, has now joined the Ravens practice squad. So we might still see the triple option in Baltimore. It's not out of the realm of possibilities yet. Just want to throw that out there.
Dude, I'm really glad you said that. Let's put that in the front pocket for next week, and let's just make that a weekly thing. Let's see how he's doing on the practice squad, and that'll be our weekly scatter report.
I had a rough Saturday when I heard they cut him. It wasn't good, and then an hour or two later, I found out we signed the practice squad. So it was a shaky day for me to start, but
All right. Well, speaking of shaky ways to start, Newbeck, myself, went 2-3 last week with our picks, and Dugan, you won the week with a 3-2 showing. If you go 60% in Vegas, you're having yourself a good weekend. So tip of the cap to you on a great start here, at least getting over the 500 mark. So we both had Clemson covering the 7 points, came up short against Auburn. So that was both a loss in the column for both of us. We had Notre.
Man, I was on Auburn too.
Oh, they
always go with your gut. Always go with your gut.
Oh no! Before we started, I said the same thing. We had Notre Dame covering the 3 points.
That didn't happen.
That did not happen. But I was thinking, because it went to overtime, if they would have won in overtime by a touchdown, would that still count, or do you push?
Where did that happen? Where did that happen? Oh, I forgot. I meant to ask you that as well, because I was curious how that worked too. I mean,
well, when I was in Vegas, anytime that somebody went to overtime, they pushed. At least as the sports book that I was at, it was pretty shitty. But that's a good way to cover their ass, I guess. But all right, yeah. We'll research that and come back next week. Georgia covering the 3 points, we had correct. Mm-hmm. And then this is where we differ. We had Alabama covering the 11, which we both had correct. Wait a minute.
And then last night is where we differed. You had Ole Miss, I had Florida State.
That's correct. Yep. Sorry about that. I had Ole Miss and Florida. Man, I was looking good too in the first half.
I mean, that was going to be a lot of field goals for Florida State, which then happened to turn out to being actually successful drives that let their defense rest. So that helped. Yeah. No. Oh man, you hit the nail right on the head. Ole Miss defense could not get off the field. They just sustained way too many drives. Yeah. So
we got not such as great of a lineup this week.
I mean, these aren't your hottest games. These are games only a mother can love.
These are. I'm dating her, but I'm not going to tell my friends.
Yeah. This is not good. This is the 2 a.m. scramble. We have, starting off, I've kind of noticed there's some weird rivalry kind of games going on. Not really rivalries. We start out with Utah at BYU. Utah is -3 here.
To be honest, Dugan, not a whole lot of knowledge on both of these programs. Hoping to learn a lot about them this weekend. I'm going to go with Utah to cover the 3 points at BYU. You can't trust a team. They don't let them have sex. So
yeah, I
don't like
Utah
it
here too.
Even though a huge Jimmer fan, could not find a bigger Jimmer fan.
I mean,
I think he's in China now playing. It's kind of sad.
No way! I thought it was in the net or the Knicks.
He played in the D League, and I think they shipped him. I don't know,
Brad, you are right. And he also plays for a sweet name.
Oh, I couldn't tell you the name, but please tell me.
If you need a Shanghai Sharks jersey.
Oh, no way! Yes, I do need that.
You need to buy that as soon as you can.
I do need that. All right, moving on to I think the most interesting game of the weekend, the battle for Bristol. Virginia Tech and Tennessee. Tennessee minus 11 points. Ugh. I'm going to ask you because, we were...
We'll get back and forth.
Yeah, I went first. I went first last time.
That's what I'm saying. There's going to be so many people here. What they said, like 150-ish?
I think so. I think it was like 144 or something like that. Some just outrageous number.
That's so crazy. Sidebar: when we were at pre-con Vegas. I think it was like 122 in Union Field. So I can only imagine how many people are going to be at this thing.
Yeah.
There definitely needs to be a NASCAR race. I'll say it to begin with. The NASCAR race should be at like noon to 4, and then you have the football game. Anywho, I think that Tennessee is going to win. Tennessee is going to win by. I'm taking Tennessee with -11. I'm confident.
Woo! I'm going to take
it.
Virginia Tech and Virginia Tech all day long. They didn't look great, but they look good. I think a Virginia Tech team will come out with their lunch pails and play a decent Tennessee game, but there was a lot of hype last weekend for Tennessee, and there's a lot of hype this week, obviously, with the 11 points. I think Virginia Tech goes in there, and 11 is a lot to swallow for a neutral site game.
11 is, but I would feel much more comfortable with my team giving away 11 that just almost got beat by Appalachian State at home. I think they're going to have their heads screwed on right. That's just me, though.
That's just me.
I'm a crazy cat. Next game, we have Florida hosting Kentucky. Kentucky's getting 16.
Ooh.
I mean, I don't know, man. That's there's some scary numbers. The game I wanted to have, and I will say this, I wanted to have. I'll have to come back to it. I wanted a good game, but none of the books had it. I mean, Kentucky lost to Southern Miss by 9.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's your
call, though. It's your call.
I'm going Kentucky. Give me the points.
Give you the points. I'll go Kentucky, too. I like that a lot. I like the Kentucky flyout. I'm not going to take a -11 and a -16. I'm not that crazy.
I'm not that crazy.
Especially with these teams. Next, we have a little local flavor for you. The Cavaliers of Virginia going out to Eugene.
Okay.
And the Ducks are 25-point favorites.
Oh, man, I will eat those points all day long. Virginia lost to Richmond.
Todd McShay was happy. That's where old McShay went, so I know he was loving it. But that's Bronco Mendenhall. That's not how you start your tenure.
God,
UVA is dropping to Richmond. So
at UVA.
At UVA, I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon wins by 40.
No, I don't. Oh man, I think they're actually playing an offense that Oregon's defense can actually stop. Give me. I'll take the 25 I'll eat the 25 and give me Oregon all day.
I thought they played Virginia last year. Or was it 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago.
Didn't you go to the game?
No, I went to Notre Dame UVA one.
That's right, where the kid was crying. Huh.
Yeah, that was funny. I know they scored a dumb amount of points when they played Virginia in 2013. So
I'm so down on Virginia. Yeah. And then we got Iowa State.
How about Iowa State? Utah BYU. Like, I thought I was looking up the wrong week. I mean, I did look up the wrong week, but then I revised that one and thought I was looking at the same week again. But these games aren't September. These are October, November snow games where it's really cold and you got linemen without sleeves on that are just moving people, and you have like a 12-9 game with a game winning 26-yarder that like hits off the crossbar and goes in.
A gust of wind pulls it back in.
Yeah. So I've been meaning to say this. I think you asked me the question last week. Who is the next Iowa?
Iowa State?
I think it's Iowa. Iowa might be the next Iowa. They're good. They're doing whatever they did last year, which is they're going to cause some problems. So I'm taking Iowa and the points. It's a rivalry game at home. They are not going to let their foot off the gas for Iowa State.
Man. Give me Iowa State. Give me the points.
Iowa State in the points. All right.
Give me the points.
Well, we shall see where. Well, we will see.
I'm gonna regret that, but whatever. Whatever.
I mean, yeah. It's up to you.
And no, I just I don't want to root for Iowa.
I mean, they're having game day at Bristol, so why don't they just put a NASCAR race there? I'm going to keep asking questions until someone tells me. They better have, like, Jeff Gordon do it, right? Would that make sense?
You know the one NASCAR race I went to? Do you know who drove the pace car?
Where was the race?
Richmond.
In Richmond? Who drove the pace car? I'm assuming it's someone not in NASCAR.
Yeah, well, that's you're hot.
I don't know. Is that like how it happens? I don't know. I'm gonna say
It was 2 years ago. I'll give you a hint. 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2.5 years. 2.5 years.
That probably doesn't help me. Is it David Bratt? No, I'm fine. Is that right?
RG3.
RG3 drove the pace. That's all. How much insurance think the Redskins have on that?
He probably tore his ACL.
I was going to say, like, that would
just
be...
stepping on the brakes.
Like, I don't mean to wish bad ill against the Redskins, but how funny would that be, like, if he, like, rode into the wall or something and, like, broke his everything in his
Hey, it's a tight track over there in Richmond.
I mean, Roman's racing. It's the action track for a reason.
Hey, under the lights. All right, we're running out of time here. Dugan, how do you feel about tonight's draft?
I feel good. I don't know. I don't want to draft Odell Beckham Jr. because I don't want to have to root for the Giants. I like Julio Jones, though. It's a point.
I think Julio's way more of an insurance.
Yeah, and I like that Julio plays in that dumbass division, so he can just get a lot of points. I'm probably going to go Julio Jones, to be honest with you.
Not bad. I'm sitting at 9, hating my life, but whatever.
Nine isn't as bad as you think.
I wanted 5.
5 was. I had 6 and got Elliott last week.
Actually, you know what? Come to think of it, I think every year I am 9 in this damn league. Whatever.
Well, hey.
Good luck to you, sir.
We had a good time tonight.
We did.
I hope our viewers like us.
I think this is way better than last week.
And we will probably have a guest on next week.
I hope so. Yeah, I got to figure that out.
I think we will. Sidebar while we're on this is I'll be in Boston next week. Can we tape this on Thursday?
That's fine.
Okay. Because I'm in Boston Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and coming Thursday.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. We'll have a good draft, and we'll talk then.
Sure. Yeah, I'm talking in the draft room.
All right, man.
All right. Take care, bud.
Yeah.